It says recording started. So I don't know what's going to happen when I end broadcast. I don't know where that goes. Hopefully it saves it. Um, I'm assuming it does. But cool.
All right.
Should I change my name to Ralph?
I don't think so. I think
I don't think it's fine.
fine.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Awesome. I've been up since 3 in the afternoon.
Oh goodness.
So I went. I woke up at 3 in the afternoon after getting, I think, like 5 hours sleep, and then I woke up at 3, got ready, got dressed. Stevie came home. We went and had dinner with my family, and then went and saw Star Wars.
Which one?
The brand new one.
Oh, that's right. There's a new one, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to read this real quick before we get started because I received a text message from somebody. Where the fuck? Oh, man. Okay. I received this text message from somebody. It was you before I saw the movie. Now, this text message reads, I think I like it better than Empire. And I had to sit on that for a bit. I saw some reviews, not reviews. I did the stupid thing of I look really red with this hat on. Before I saw the movie, I decided to check Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't like Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm like, I just got to know something. So it said 58% critics call the movie unimaginative, but fans will love it. Or it's made for fans, but it's unimaginative.
Wait, made for fans?
Something along the lines of that.
No.
I don't even think it was made for fans.
You're right. I mean, I'm saying that mockingly. I'm like, who the fuck would want to make a movie for the fans of the
right of the end of this 40-year-long thing? So I'm like, I'm getting 2 completely polar opposite reviews from someone I trust, this guy, that guy, and a bunch of critics. And I'm like, I don't know what it's going to be. And so I saw the movie, and it's dumb, and it's fucking corny, and it's full of fan service, and I fucking ate up every single goddamn minute of it. I love this movie. So I want to talk about it, and I'm excited to talk about it. And hey, even though I just
episode 150 for us, we can talk about something we both really enjoy.
Yeah. All right. Let's do a podcast.
I don't even know how much of it I think is. There might be. I think dumb is pretty harsh.
The thing is, like, up until a couple days ago, to my knowledge, I don't read expanded universe stuff. There's no such thing as Jedi healing. But
apparently that I haven't seen the latest Mandalorian, but I'm sure you have.
Yes.
And that happens in there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
If you remember in chapter 2 of The Mandalorian, or I think it's chapter 2, he's like injured on the arm, and the baby Yoda goes up and reaches for him, and he puts the baby Yoda back in the carriage, and he comes out again. Like looks like he was trying to heal him. So yeah, that's a big thing. I'm not going to say dumb. I won't say dumb. I'll take dumb off the table. Can I leave corny on the table?
Tell you what, I just back on the Force healing. I think because we haven't seen it before doesn't mean that it's never been possible.
Right.
And the Force is very small.
Well, I think that's one of the things with this movie, and I'm gonna say, I mean, I don't know if corny's the word, but there's definitely between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, there's a definitely shift in tone, like between those two movies. And there's a similar shift in tone between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. And I
Sure.
feel like they're somewhat equivalent. So by comparison, I would say this is more corny than The Last Jedi. It's not taken seriously. It's kind of a goofball movie. Like it's like just dumb adventure. Like it's just fun. And I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. Like you've heard me talk about Solo before, and
Yes.
I'm sure we talked about Solo on this podcast, where Star Wars, there's nothing really new in Star Wars that's going to be like, oh wow, that's crazy. So when they put in like the weird stuff, I get excited, and I think there was plenty of weird stuff in this movie. Um, Fucking starting off right off the bat, the opening crawl, which I'm pretty sure was written by some sort of Star Wars bot on the internet. Like if you read the opening crawl, it looks it's just like Palpatine, Princess Leia, some crazy planet, it's just like this. It's so much. It's almost like they took bits and pieces of every Star Wars crawl
But doesn't
and
that just mean that it's doing the same thing that they've always done?
but it's like, yeah, but it was just, to me it was funny. Like it was almost, I don't know. I don't know. I thought the crawl was hilarious. I liked that the opening line of the crawl stuck with me,
Yeah.
where it just
Yeah,
says "the dead speak" and then exclamation. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, okay, all right, cool. And then they mentioned Palpatine right off the bat, and I'm like, oh, so we're not even like,
We're not dicking
they're not
around.
pussy. Yeah, they're not pussyfooting around. They're just like, he was the big surprise in the trailer, and everyone's like, how could you reveal that, not knowing that it's like in the second sentence you read.
And in
um
the second scene, like he
that's when
shows
I
up right
started
away.
okay, so that's where things got weird right off the bat for me, because they don't explain Palpatine how he's alive.
I mean, they basically, he says that the Sith have a connection to what some people would call unnatural. He's died before. So, I mean,
That's like a quote from episode 3, right?
I don't know.
So Palpatine says to Anakin, that some people would, the Sith have powers that some people would deem unnatural, and he
Okay,
talks
well
about
then
creating life.
we'll take that. I don't know if you ever saw Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan,
I
but it's
have.
okay. It's when Spock is about to go into the big radiation chamber, and McCoy's like, "No, you can't," and he knocks him out, and he goes, "Remember." And the remember is the thing they held on to for the next movie, so
Mm.
that they could bring him back. And maybe that was the seed. Oh yeah, for Sith Force is pretty unnatural. Just in case you guys were wondering, in about 3 movies.
Dude.
I mean, how do you bring him back? How do you bring him back if he's dead?
But you know what? I like that they didn't really explain it.
I
They
think
didn't
they
say
explained it enough. There are
they didn't
dark.
say they didn't say clone. They
Good.
didn't say anything. They just said, he just essentially said, "I'm back," and I was like, "All right, cool." Like I would rather have no explanation than an explanation that I would pick apart and be like, that there's logic flaws in that, or it's like whatever. I'm just so I I mean, by the time they got done with that opening scene where Kylo Ren finds him immediately, and all they go through that, it's almost like a montage. It opens with a montage of him finding the sort of Sith tracking beacon,
The
and
Wayfinder.
yeah, and then it's like
And slaughtering this.
a James Bond pre-credit sequence. Like that whole sequence could have happened before the opening crawl, which I know they wouldn't do in the ninth episode of the season or the series, but that's what it felt like. It felt like a pre-title sequence that would set that up. But um I this I think one of the reasons why I was on board with this whole thing is when the Emperor said that he created Snoke. Sure, whatever. There's our Snoke theories, all whatever. That's what happened. That's where Snoke came from. Okay, fine. But he says I was the voice inside you the whole time, or whatever. He says the voice he hears, and then it switches into Snoke's voice, I think. But then it switches into Vader's voice. And as soon as I heard Vader's voice, like I got like super chills. I'm like, oh shit, it's Star Wars. Like he's like the only main classic trilogy character we haven't seen or heard from. We've seen the mask or the helmet, but to hear Vader's voice was like, holy shit, like fucking I'm already on board. I'm so on board. And then for the next 2.5 hours or whatever, I'm just like grinning ear to ear. Like the whole fucking time. Like I could not get enough. And anytime something like there's a point where they get into quicksand and I'm like, what is this? A stupid fucking jungle serial movie from the 30s? And I'm like, yes, it is. That's what it's supposed to be. It's like, of course they need quicksand in Star Wars. It's like the one thing they haven't done. We've already had Chewbacca swing from vines and do Tarzan yells.
Oh gosh.
Like why not like have quicksand? Fuck, man. I I've only seen it the once, and I've just been thinking about it at work all night. And you're the first person I've talked to about it because no one at work went and saw it yesterday. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Oh, I'm gonna see it next week. Oh, I'm gonna see it on Monday. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, I went to the Chinese theater last night with some friends, and it was packed. It was great. It was exciting.
Did you go look at C-3PO and R2-D2's footprints?
I've seen them a number of times before.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see how many different ways I can situate myself here.
It's what the people want.
I'm very tired.
I like this shot.
I'm sitting on my bed, so I don't know if this is too lackadaisical.
No, it's great. Like you, okay, so you've had a little bit. You've seen it more than once.
I really don't want to get into that.
You've
bad idea
okay.
to get into that.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's what today's. Yeah, you could have seen it more than once. I could have probably seen it more than once, and I worked all day. What are your thoughts now concerning the text message you sent me?
I have not seen Empire in a while,
Uh-huh.
but I think a big part of that is because I'm kind of the same way as you in terms of beginning to end. I was like that first 5 minutes when he's on that planet slashing people, and then we go to see the Emperor, and it's fucking lightning and evil and fucking Snoke in a jar over here, a bunch of Snoke clones and shit. I was just like the whole darn time.
Ooh.
Oh, I got a great text message. Friend of mine just got a job. Good job, baby.
Oh. Congrats.
So, but yeah, I mean, everything. I don't think there was any scene where I was like, they could have cut this, and I'd be perfectly fine.
Right.
The closest we get is when Poe and Carrie Russell are on the roof talking about potential things they could do. We could leave. You can come with me. Nah, I gotta stay. I gotta fight. Like that's the only thing, and I think it's good. So,
and that scene just sets up the thing where she has the commander key or whatever. So it was like it gives you a little more into their characters, a little backstory on her and his relationship, and just giving you a easy thing to where like they're going to be able to get on a Star Destroyer. So I was like, that's a weird scene. I bet that commander key is going to come into play immediately.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I almost was halfway waiting for them to reveal that they were married, like the way they were talking, they're like, who is she? You never, and or she says like, you never told them about us. And I'm like, are they? But what's funny is they said the thing I like about them being set up, it feels like the whole movie, by the time we get to the end, everyone gets set up into couples.
Sure.
And I was expecting it to be Finn and Poe, but I guess that's not going to happen.
Were you
But
really expecting that?
no, I don't. Why not? I mean, we already have a gay kiss in Star Wars now, and why not? I think they were afraid to pull the trigger, but
I mean, I don't. I did. I never
so
saw it.
so Lando's going to go fuck that girl, right?
I don't think so. I think he's going to be the fatherly figure to her, and
It's Lando. He's like, let's go. He's like, let's go find out who you are together. Yeah, he's gonna find out who she is.
oh, jeez.
Dude. It's Lando.
I did think his
It-
send my love to Leia after her ex-husband just passed away. He let her know I'm in.
oh, so like for some reason when we first see Lando and he's got the helmet on and stuff, like I immediately got excited because I'm like, oh my god, it's Lando.
I knew it right away.
Yeah, I knew it right because I don't know if it was the like the cadence in his voice, but I was like, oh, it's like when he's dressed as the skiff guard guy in Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
And I was like getting all like excited in my seat, and then he took the mask off. And I'm like, fuck yes. Like it's so funny. Like I watch these videos on YouTube where it's the where people do the reactions of trailers.
Right.
The way I do it, I'll do it a little bit different. I'll watch a trailer a bunch, and then when I do it on the Patreon, I'll just go through and look and try to find Easter eggs or any like kind of little stuff. But there's these people on the internet where they're watching trailers for the first time and they're like talking and they're exciting and they're crying and they're saying things and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And I'm like, no one really watches trailers like that in real life.
Right.
But watching this movie, I felt like one of those people because it's like I was literally in my seat, like grinning. I'm like, oh my god, that's Lando. Oh my god, that's Lando. There's two other times where I just bursted out like excited Ralph, where I can't control. Like usually I just watch something and if it's funny, I'll laugh. Something really has to like catch me off guard to like make me physically like exert any kind of like emotion. There's two cameos that did that for me. One was fucking Wedge. And he was only in there a split second. And I wish he was in an X-Wing with his green helmet. But it was like, that guy's been saying for years he wants nothing to do with Star Wars. He's done with it. So for them to get him for 2 seconds was fucking made the movie for me. I was like, I love that Wedge is still out there. The second one is John Williams. John Williams is in the fucking movie.
Is he the guy? Is he the bartender?
Yes.
Okay.
They gave John Williams like a robot cyborg eye and said, here, stand over here. We're going to put you in a Star Wars. And he's like, okay. Like I would have never, ever thought that I would ever see a John Williams cameo in a Star Wars. But like, why not? Even George Lucas. Yeah, even George Lucas got forced into being in Episode 3.
Do you think he got forced into it?
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he wanted to do it, but everyone was like, "Come on, George."
Family in there.
Yeah, but I don't know. But I mean, John Williams.
That's neat.
I wonder if he was like totally like on board with it, and he was like, I've been waiting 42 years, and finally somebody asked me. So those two cameos like really threw me for a loop, and I was like, oh, that's so great. There was one cameo that I did not expect, and when it happened, I didn't think I liked it.
Luke
but
Skywalker.
No.
Oh, okay.
Han Solo Han Solo's in this movie.
I figured they'd find a way to put him in. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with he's obviously not a Force ghost, and it's Leia's like doing what Luke did and like transferring her energy into Ben. So she's probably pulling Han from the other side and projecting him. Um
I mean, he says you're just a memory. Your
right.
memories.
Yeah. Um it was great because it mirrored the scene from The Force Awakens. And this shows what would have happened if he did made the other choice.
Yeah.
And fucking A, dude, Ben Solo, he didn't. I was hoping for the best. I think we talked about this like way back when we talked about Force Awakens, where I wanted Ben Solo in like the Han Solo outfit with the vest and the blaster and stuff. We didn't get that, but fuck, that was so good. It was so
Really
good.
good. And when it's funny because it didn't hit me right away, but then when his last words, when he throws the saber and he says, "Dad," and he can't say the words, but Han says, "I know," which means that Ben was saying, "I love you," but he couldn't say it.
I didn't pick up on that. Shit, I got to see it again. That's so fucking awesome. I didn't even notice that, dude. God, this movie's great.
It took some reflection.
There's so much fan shit in here. There's so much fan shit. I think Leia was handled pretty well.
It's interesting because you could tell, like I could tell right away. It's like they're finding ways to squeeze people around her with these benign phrases. Nothing's impossible. Never underestimate a droid. Stuff
Right.
like that. It's like, oh man. But what are you gonna do? Like I was reading a review and they were just ripping on him for and she hands the lightsaber to her again because they have that footage. It's like, yeah, fuck you, man. They're doing what they can with the little footage they have. Fuck you for ripping on that.
And her storyline, I loved it. Like I really liked that I mean, she was the one to end up training Rey.
Speaking of training, how about that 10-second training footage of Luke and Leia as post Jedi?
They both have the blast shields on, and so they're doing their lightsaber battle. And I'm like, okay, this is the way to get around it. But when Luke's mask came up and it was a young Luke, I lost it again. It gave me chills. And then we saw hers go up, and I'm like, we've kind of seen that already with Rogue One. But I was just like, oh my God, like that. Like I loved it. I loved everything about what they did with Leia, making her training.
That we absolutely loved. Leia with her fucking lightsaber. You're goddamn right. We want to see that.
Yeah. Oh man. And Leia has her own lightsaber, which I wasn't too keen on the design. It looked a little. I don't want to say it. I'm gonna say it. It kind of looked like sonic screwdriver-y to me.
I don't know.
More than lightsaber.
I think it looked a lot like. I think it looked similar to Luke's, and to me, it was like Luke made his lightsaber, and he made one for his sister. I think the design is similar.
Yeah. God, following those lightsabers. So what I like about this is a lot of people were saying that this undoes everything that Rian Johnson did, like it ignores everything, which it doesn't, because it builds on the relationship between Kylo Ren and Rey talking to each other through the Force. And in The Last Jedi, we see Rey, she's out in the rain, and he's on a Star Destroyer. And when they're done with their communication, his hand is wet. So we're able to see that materials are able to transfer through the Force. We get the scene where she has the necklace on, and Kylo Ren pulls the necklace out through the Force like Freddy Krueger style. And then Darth Vader's helmet goes crashing from the Star Destroyer down onto the planet, and that's cool. And it sets up the fucking Die Hard moment where she has the lightsaber, and if it's like reverse Die Hard, she puts her hands over her head, and then when she brings her hand back over without the lightsaber, I'm like, oh, is she like doing a magic trick? I'm like, she just dropped. Why did she drop the lightsaber behind her back? And then it cuts to Ben Solo holding it, and I'm like, this is fucking brilliant. Like they took that moment from The Last Jedi where the rain passes over, and like, well, what can we do with that? And the fact that she had both lightsabers meant that they can do what they did. Like the greatest scene in The Last Jedi, hands down, is when they're fighting the Praetorian Guards together. When and they're fighting back, and so they built on that too, where he comes out, but they both have blue lightsabers, and it's just like, this is fucking awesome.
That one shot where they bring them up together to face Palpatine, and the crowd went nuts.
And I mean, this is something we haven't seen since episode 2, where we see 2 light side Force users or Jedi back to back with their blue sabers fighting asshole bad guys. And I loved it.
It was awesome.
It was so good.
You mentioned the Die Hard moment, and I want to bring out a couple of other 80s strong references, maybe not references, but parallels. We've got the Goonies.
Yes. I forgot about that with the dagger. It was literally even the kind of beach they were on reminded me of that. When she's holding the dagger up and it like lined up perfectly, and then the little thing that popped out is like Chester Copperpot's medallion.
Exactly. And so the Emperor's plan to have Rey strike her down, and then his essence would go inside her, a young new body for him. Mm-hmm. It's a little Ghostbusters 2 for me.
I guess so. But was his plan really to just get both of them there so he could take all of their essence and become one? I guess he kind of discovered it in the moment.
I mean, I think he planned on taking over Rey's body.
Yeah.
But and I think he was like, holy fuck, you guys have that strong. Yes. Yeah, I'll just do that. I'll just heal myself.
That's one of the things I like is, for the last 4 or 5 years, whenever Force Awakens came out and we didn't know who Rey's parents were, people were speculating, oh, she's a Kenobi, oh, she's a Palpatine, oh, she's a Skywalker. This movie lets us have 2 of those things. So it's like casting out the widest fan service net to please both the people who want her to be a Sith Rey Palpatine or a Rey Skywalker. She kind of gets to be both, and I like that.
And I never like a lot. There were some people in the audience when we found out she's a Palpatine that were just audibly ridiculed the idea. But I mean, it's the whole. It's like a balanced thing. It's like Ben says early on when he's still Kylo. He says, "My mother was the son of Vader. Your father was the son of Palpatine, or your mother was the daughter of Vader." It makes sense. It's kind of like a story. It's like a neat story.
it's like they brought all 9 films together at the end of this one. Like the fact that they're even talking prequel shit is like great. Like it makes those movies better in a way. Just having Palpatine there, like he's like Vader's the greatest villain. Vader's the greatest, but fucking Ian McDiarmid is so good. And if you're able to get him in the movie, I'm all on board.
And when he's regenerating, so more or less, so to speak, he brings that power in, and his fucking eyes.
Yeah.
Very scary.
Yeah. Oh, he was creepy. He was just dangling from that hanger. like the whole time, like you look like a
Yeah.
half dead marionette. Um, there's a couple moments where I just started crying. One of the first ones was it was uh, it was a callback that I didn't think I needed, but was totally awesome. Was when she was with Luke and she destroyed the TIE fighter she came in and she needed a way off the island. And he uses the Force to pull up the X-Wing, which and then they play the Yoda theme during that. They play the same music as when Yoda lifted that same X-Wing out of the swamps of Dagobah when Luke failed to do it. And it was, and I swear that Mark Hamill watched Frank Oz's performance and mimicked it in that moment. It was like I'm sure Luke, since Empire, could lift heavy shit with the Force. Like he figured out how to do that. But like seeing it for the first time, him complete that task was like really, really cool. Like it's just a really, really cool moment. And it's the first time in the movie, I think the first time in the movie that we see an X-Wing. I'm sure we see some on the ground and stuff. We see some, but there was just something about that where it was just like, oh my God. And then from that moment on, when she's flying in it, they call her Red 5.
Yeah.
Which also, I fucking, like, how great is that? Like, it probably means nothing to her, but unless Luke told her about the stories of him being Red 5. But man, that scene was awesome.
Speaking of him just lifting the X-Wing out of the air, and first time we see Rey in this movie, she's levitating and she's flipping rocks all around her.
Oh yeah, huh?
It does bring in, I think it was around the time we were watching Green Lantern, maybe I think, and we were like, why do they even walk? Why don't they just fly all the time? Because if you can fly all the time, why wouldn't you just fly all the time?
Right.
Meanwhile, she's climbing this big tower, and she almost falls. Climbing the big tower. Oh my God! Why doesn't she float herself up there?
I didn't think about that. Which I guess is good because it was exciting.
And the same with getting there. Why doesn't she just float across the whole darn thing in her?
It must take a lot of it seemed like it was taking a lot of concentration.
Maybe.
But yeah, I don't know.
I'll take that temporary answer.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want to go back to what people are saying are rewriting and undoing the Rian Johnson stuff. Because the only change from Last Jedi to this one that I was a little bit disappointed in was I think Rose got jobbed out. She was a main of the last movie. I mean, I didn't need her personally.
Yeah.
She was fine, but she did get like really cut down. And I don't know if there were plans for her to be big. Maybe, maybe not. You can't have every character that they meet across the movies being a huge part of every movie.
Yeah, like even look at Lando.
Yeah.
Like he was out of, 2 movies.
But that's the only thing that I could like. What other things are people saying that were being?
I think from what little I read, stuff like he like broke the lightsaber and then it's fixed in this one. They the whole call to the galaxy with Broom Boy, that whole thing.
Well, okay.
I don't know. I just I try to steer clear of the negative shit, and then I see it, and I'm like,
I want to understand.
It's more nitpicky.
What is your point? What are you saying that they had to do? It's kind of like wrestling, and maybe it's with every form of entertainment. The story didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. Therefore, it's bad.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And for me, the story didn't end up how I wanted it to be. but I thought there was a lot of awesome shit in there that I would have never thought of. And it made me thoroughly enjoy the movie the whole time. Um, what did I have a note? Oh, we were talking about Luke. Like, I thought it was kind of funny that she goes to throw away the lightsaber, and this time Luke catches it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a fun callback, and I don't. It shows how he's changed. Because in the Last Jedi, he was like completely jaded.
And
He
he
was
said,
done, and
she says, I'm doing what you did. And he says, I was wrong.
yeah, and that's what Yoda teaches him before he decides to go to Crate and be the Spark. You know, it. So it's kind of funny the way that he was able to see the errors of his way and inspire her to go do her thing. Um, Speaking of inspiration from the Jedi, that scene where Rey is like beaten down and she's just looking up into the stars and you hear all the voices of all the Jedi, that was cool. I had a lot of fun trying to pick out who was who. Uh, Definitely got a reaction out of Hayden Christensen from the audience. People
Yeah.
recognize that one. Obi-Wan, of course, Yoda. And then there's a bunch of Jedi from the Clone Wars. I went to IMDb and they posted all the voices of the Jedi. I also checked into Dio. I was like, who voices Dio?
Yeah.
And it's J.J. Abrams.
Yes. Yeah. It's in the credits.
Yeah. I did
You know
not.
who's not in the credits?
Who?
Can you guess?
Can I guess who's not in the credits?
And Harrison Ford.
Oh.
He's not in the credits. His makeup and hair artists are in the credits. Makeup for Mr. Ford, but no Harrison Ford.
Huh. That's okay. He's probably.
Yeah, I think they probably did it just so there's some sort of surprise.
Yeah, he was great. As soon as you see that profile shot of Kylo Ren, and you just hear some. I think you hear him say, "Hey, kiddo." I think that's what he says, and I'm just like, and I was just like, "Oh shit, this is fucking awesome." Like I never once felt like, "Oh, that's a stupid." They're just playing up the fandom. They're not. They're just playing to the fans. I was genuinely excited because it felt like the whole movie felt like a big reunion. And yeah, it's kind of how it should have been. It's like a celebration of 42 years of Star Wars. I liked that the celebration at that camp, the sort of like Bollywood camp. Our C-3PO says that they do it only once every 42 years, which I thought was fun. It was like a nod to 1977.
And I just like that. 3PO made me laugh a lot in this movie.
Oh man,
Oh, it's
he was so great.
Colorful kites and delectable treats, and they're all like, "What the fuck?" And they're all looking at him. And he's like,
he turns around. He was really good in it. That's another moment that kind of got me was after they wipe his memory, and that's a lot of fun. He's like kind of like just him saying, "Oh, this is very exciting being on this my first mission."
My first space battle.
Yeah, all very exciting. But what's funny is when he meets back with R2 and introduces to R2, he introduces himself. R2 tells 3PO that he's his best friend. And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's amazing." Like, because they've always hated each other's guts, like for years. And to hear R2D2, or you don't hear R2D2 say it, but C-3PO responds to that. It's like, "What do you mean we're best friends?" or whatever he says.
I think I know if I had a best friend.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, R2D2 had to have said the words "best friend," and that tickled me. I was like, because 42 years ago, our C-3PO's kicking R2 in the middle of the desert, and he's like, "Fine, go that way, you scrap pile." And it's like somewhat closure, I guess. Like it was just really like it's like a moment where we've been watching these two stupid robots for 42 years, and to see them like be thought of as friends was it's
But
like,
then
oh, that's cool.
also they flip it, and he forgets that he ever said it. So it's kind of like that TV show where finally a character makes a monumental change, and then next week everything's fine again.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
kind of get it both ways.
But R2's when R2 put it in his old memory banks, it was still kind of wonky and not working right, which was kind of fun.
I think my fucking 3PO, dude. I know what we should do. So do I. We should leave.
Yeah. The most fan servicey thing that also got me, and I was totally on board with, makes no sense in the story at all, is when Leia lays down to project her force to Kylo Ren, and she's laying there with the cover. She's holding the Yavin medal. Why would she hold the Yavin medal? There's like no reason for her to hold that other than to give Chewie a medal. After all this time, he finally gets his medal for the Battle of Yavin.
I think, I mean, it's her connection to Han, right? It's Han's medal.
Right, but like
Han helped me communicate with our son. It's like the closest. Like she didn't. I guess she didn't really have the dice.
Oh yeah, those the force projected dice. They weren't real.
Yeah.
They disappeared. That's right. Okay, that totally makes sense then. So she grabbed onto an item that was tied to Han and got it. That makes sense. But the fact that Maz gave Chewie the medal finally was so good.
I didn't even think that it was Han's medal at the time. I thought it was like, oh, Chewie finally gets a medal. And I was like, okay,
yeah, yeah, it's so good. I read this online last night, and I didn't know this. Maz Kanata in this film is not CGI.
Really?
She's a puppet.
I remember that. I remember reading, and I was certain that Yoda in this, the baby Yoda, was CGI, but he's not. He's a fucking puppet.
Yeah.
And I remember I heard the snake, that big old snake, was a puppet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I guess they just went solid. By the way, it's criminal that we were 42 minutes into this and we have not discussed
what are we?
Babu.
Oh, Babu Frick?
Babu.
Babu.
I fucking love that guy.
Yeah, I don't like.
3PO speaks the Sith language. Blah 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 blah. Hey!
it reminds me of like Tuck and Roll from A Bug's Life, or like the Minions a little bit. But and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like weird broken English with like a couple of like hey or like a you got it or what. It was like weird speech patterns. I'm like, what the fuck is with this thing? And then I loved it when Zori Bliss shows up in her Y-wing and he's in the cockpit and he goes, hey! I was like,
and
I love it.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense because they're talking just audio. She's talking to the crew in audio, and he pops up.
Yeah, he doesn't have a headset on.
Looking at a camera that I guess is there. Hey,
yeah,
here I am.
Yeah. There's no way that Poe and his X-wing is going to be able to see that little dude.
Right,
but it's fun.
More fan service. We saw Wicket and his son.
Yes. I don't know why, but I liked it. I mean, they said they were going to the Endor system.
Yeah.
I just assumed that he would be there, if anything, but that's okay. The shot of the Star Destroyer falling behind Cloud City, like that's like desktop wallpaper territory. Like I was just like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Did you notice when they were light skipping that they went to a universe where
everything was green?
Well, I think the one where there's like a mirror, because there's like it looked like there were two falcons flying. There was the falcon, and then it was flipped as well. So there's like it was mirrored all. It was really neat.
My eyes were so big during that scene because I'm like, what planet is this? What planet is this? And trying to pick up clues, but they're going so fast, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to.
Speaking of trying to pick things out, the most spaceships ever in a shot in a movie, right?
Yeah,
There
yeah.
have to be some Easter eggs in there.
At one point, I did see the ghost from the show Rebels.
Okay.
So that was pretty easy to pick out, and the rest, I don't know. Do you think that there's Easter eggs from not just Star Wars?
I would like to think so.
Like, do you think there's like a DeLorean in there? Do you think they like?
I would like to see the Enterprise. I think I would love to see the Enterprise in there somewhere.
Oh shit!
But there's so many ships. Oh, I can't even begin to look.
I'm already gonna pre-order this on iTunes. Like as soon as we're done recording. Like I fucking love this movie. We're gonna go see it again on Sunday, but fuck, I think we're busy tonight.
So I guess in terms of weight, I don't know if I can properly stand by my claim that it's better than
right.
Empire. But I love it.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, right? Jesus. So the original trilogy always for me is my top three. In order, I like A New Hope more than Empire just because it's pure fun.
And it's the building block.
Yeah. And that's what this movie was to me. It was pure fun. Very melodramatic. Chewie's dead. Oh wait, no, he's not. I didn't buy that one for a second.
Yeah, I don't think anybody did.
Kylo Ren is dead. No, he's not. Rey is dead. No, she's not. We found out just how many teenage girls were in our audience when Kylo Ren and Rey kissed.
I mean,
it was nuts. Like, like the crowd was pretty good, cheering at moments, but it's like when you're like at some show and it's like, okay, now just the girls, and that's what it was.
Right.
All like, I thought it was kind of a nice ending. I think I don't know about the kiss.
I think the kiss was absolutely earned.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, but the whole like sort of Romeo and Juliet of it all, where she's dead and he saves her, but then he dies, and then
there were guys in our audience like laughing when he died, and I don't think that is laugh worthy.
Disrespectful.
Oh, because it looked like he was dying, and then she died, and then he died saving her, and I have zero problem with that. It made sense to me.
Yeah, she healed him earlier, and he healed her here, and it took all of his energy to do that. And yeah, there's no more Skywalkers. He was the last Skywalker. Which is that's how you end what they're calling the Skywalker saga. So I'm very much looking forward to maybe like 10 years when Daisy Ridley kind of is middle-aged or older to go back to the homestead, have a droid show up and say, Rey, you're our only hope. And then, do it all over again. Like there's like, I feel like I got the soundtrack last night and listened to it at work. The last track is called A New Home.
Nice.
And that whole sequence, like it was like a weird, like you kind of get a little bit of shades of Return of the King, the Lord of the Rings movies. I don't know. You're not a fan. I don't know if you've seen them.
I've only seen the first one of each.
But famously, the final, the epilogue of the third movie is something like a half hour long. So we get the celebration, and you're ready for it to do like the end credits, but then it cuts to Tatooine, and Rey is at the Lars homestead, and I liked all that.
Yeah, it was neat.
I like that it's like where we see her at the beginning of her story, where she lives in an AT-AT on Jakku, and now she has a place that she can call home, and she's with BB-8.
I
I
didn't
like
really. I guess I guess they did call it a new home. I didn't really see that as her. I didn't see her staying there, and even when
oh,
you
I
said
thought
new
she was going to
home,
settle in.
when I felt it was a new home for the lightsabers. Just when you said that,
Yeah, maybe.
I don't see her
I
sticking around. She's got
I
too
want to
much
see
to
her
do.
live
She's
there.
very young.
I want to see her live there. I like to think she kind of retired there.
She's like
She could
23 years old.
she could fix it up. She's been through a lot, dude.
Yeah.
How many years did Palpatine take off her life?
I don't think she's ready to settle in yet. Maybe
I think.
take a vacation. She's earned that. I give her
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I well, I guess it's not up to us to decide what she's doing. I suppose. I'm sure J.J. Abrams has his idea of if she lives there or not, or if the story group thinks it's something else or whatever. I guess
And
we
it's
won't
pretty
know.
open-ended.
Yeah. Um, but man, I would like to see a future Ray movie, but give it like 15 years, maybe
Yeah,
something
give
like
it some
that.
time. I mean, we got that
Yeah.
whole other trilogy to take care of, don't we?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I can't think of much more to talk about. I cannot wait to see it again. I absolutely loved it. I think it was a great end to this 9-part story. It didn't talk about Hux, but I figured out pretty quickly he was the spy. And his line, he shoots the stormtroopers and says, "I am the spy," fucking made me laugh because I'm like, Hux just assumes they know that there's a spy, but they don't know that
Well,
it's him. And it's just funny the way he said it, like, "I am the spy." And, yeah,
but I mean, he knows that he sent them information,
right,
and he knows that they know that they get information sent from a spy.
right.
I'm the
But
spy.
so good. He's so good.
I
Um,
like Ray running out of that ship and flying towards the Falcon and getting swung in there. That was great. There's a lot of
oh yeah,
really cool shit.
yeah. I need to see it again. I want to remember all the cool shit. Um, uh, I don't know. It was great. I don't know what else to say, man. Um, but yeah, Star Wars, fucking awesome.
It happened.
Yeah, I put it right up there with Solo for me. I liked it. Man, it's neck and neck with Solo. This one's a little bit newer and it has like Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker and shit in it.
I forget
So
where you have Solo.
number 4
Okay.
after the original trilogy. It it's the reason why I like Solo so much is because there aren't any sort of big mysteries to it. It's just a fun adventure with good guys and bad guys and gray area guys just shooting at each other and going on adventures. And this movie had all of that, but with like lightsabers and Jedi. You know, it was
Now,
just fun adventure.
did you have a guess that she was a Palpatine?
No,
So what
no.
was your take when you heard it right away? What did you think?
Um, I was confused. I, I I was 3 years old when Empire came out, and so I kind of always accepted that Darth Vader was Luke's father. During this moment, I'm like, that's not true. That's impossible. You know, like I literally sat there and I was like, no, that's bullshit. And not just because it's like, fuck, that's stupid. I wasn't like that. I was like, no, that just doesn't make sense to me. no, he's got to be lying. Palpatine had children, had a son or a daughter, and they had a granddaughter. I'm like, when did Palpatine have kids? I was like, I was going it through my head, and I'm like, I I wasn't accepting it the way that Ray wouldn't accept it. I wasn't like not
Right.
accepting it as a fan. I was struggling the way the character would struggle hearing that news. Um, and once it settled in, I'm like, I guess it's fine. Like this movie's already batshit crazy as it is, that I'm gonna just go with it.
And he doesn't have to have like gotten married and had a family life. He could have just, he's a very powerful Jedi who
He's able to create life, and who knows, maybe that son of Palpatine is something he created through the Force. I know
or
that
he could have had sex
things
with
lady.
someone he wanted to have sex with. I have no
Yeah,
problem with that. And the kid grows up and is like, man, my dad is an evil motherfucker. I need to
right,
be away from him and I need to hide my kid from him because who knows what he's going to do with it.
right. Um, I liked it. I liked it because it set up the whole you're the granddaughter of me, the Palpatine, and he's the grandson of Vader. And it was like I like that aspect of it. So if she was a Skywalker, and it just wouldn't feel right. It was nice because it also had her having like the Sith visions.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was her struggling with, she's like, I know I'm supposed to sit on that throne. I know that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what the Force is telling me I need to do. And to have her do everything she can. And she's like, I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm not going to sit in this throne. I'm going to go fucking kill this guy. As she shows up and he's like, cool, you're here. You're supposed to kill me. And she's like, oh shit. Well, now what do I do? I came to kill you, but that's what you want. So I don't kill you. And it was great. It's what it's supposed to be, is a Saturday morning serial that's melodramatic with high adventure and swashbuckling, and jump when she jumps out onto the Falcon, and Finn grabs her and pulls her in. Like that shit's straight out of like Indiana Jones, and Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon and Tarzan. Like all of that shit. Like it's perfect. It
I,
was so much fun.
I found the Emperor's cult to be very creepy.
Yeah. Are they still around? Did they fuck that
Well,
place up?
they got pretty
Star
fucked up.
Destroyer? Okay. Yeah, that was a lot of them too, huh?
And the chanting.
Yeah, that was good.
It was creepy.
Oh,
How
man.
about when Kylo gets that lightsaber, and he's surrounded by the guys, and he just does the nod of, all right,
Yeah,
let's go.
yeah. It. I want to watch it again. I saw it. I woke up from work, or I woke up from my sleep after work. I woke up, ate dinner, went to the movies, went to work. I'm here talking to you, and I'm ready to go see the movie again. Like I haven't slept since I saw the movie, and I'm already ready to go again. Um, Man alive. Yeah. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, we
I don't
got
know what else to say about it. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm finally able to get some of this shit out, because it's just all night. That's all I thought about was this corny movie. A corny movie about space smugglers and wizards and and yeah, and mystical powers and spaceships and giant dogs that get sad and get medals, uh and Wedge Antilles. I just loved everything about it.
Have we talked since I've been to Disneyland and done Smuggler's Run?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's a lot of fun. but we're about a month away from the new one.
I know. I've had several opportunities to go on it. In fact, I could probably go on it today if I wanted to.
Why don't you do it?
There's something about Star Wars Land. It's the only place in the whole resort that I haven't seen behind the scenes. And it's also Star Wars, and I don't want to lose that magic, as stupid as that sounds coming from a 42-year-old.
But you can ride it though, right?
Yeah, but it's in testing phases, and I guess they're like a lot of times they'll do stops and stuff and adjust. You go in through the back instead of through the line. I want to experience it in the line. Also, when I go on it, I want to go on it for the first time with Stevie. And we're both in agreement that if we have to wait 4 hours, so be it. 4 hours in Star Wars is better than 1 hour sitting on a couch doing nothing. So
Yeah.
if I can go stand in a Star Wars line, and I know that in that line is Poe's X-wing.
Oh,
Is
really?
in there. Yeah. So I mean, if I'm stuck in a line staring at that for an hour, then fuck it. I'll stare at an X-wing for an hour. I don't care. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Definitely have a report on that when that comes out. Um, I don't know what the movie slate is like. I've got the James Bond coming out, I think, in April. What about Ghostbusters? When's that come out?
I don't think they said. I think I don't. I don't remember. I don't
Hmm.
even. I don't even remember if they said summer or whatnot. I feel they said summer. I could be wrong. Maybe
I
2020.
feel like the next movie to come out that I might see is Bad Boys for Life.
Did you guys have a Tenet,
Tenet?
a trailer for Tenet that was a prologue film?
It was a prologue film.
Listen,
I
during
saw.
the, during the trailers for Star Wars, there was like a 10-minute section of the movie Tenet.
No, no. We saw the trailer. It looked
Uh,
fucking nuts.
but I mean, it wasn't just a scene of them
No,
breaking.
it was a
Dude,
trailer. It's a trailer.
we had a 10-minute scene of this escape and this hostage situation, and I'm like, fucking want to see Star Wars.
Right.
Not only okay, so I saw it at the Hollywood Theater, Man's Chinese Theater, 10 o'clock screening, and on the way there, there's cops like everywhere. Like they blocked shit off. I had to park a few blocks away, and I guess they were looking for some guy, and they delayed the screening for 10 minutes just because of all of the madness
Oh,
outside. And then there's a bunch of trailers, and then I got this 10-minute block. It's like, motherfucker, I don't want to watch this intense fucking movie right now. I want to watch
no.
Star Wars. It was crazy.
Yeah. I'm going to go see that Top Gun movie. I'll tell you that. That fucker is actually flying those jets. He wants so bad to feel something that he's willing to go risk his life for a movie just so he could see what it's like to fly a real jet.
But with Ghostbusters, I'm still surprised that you didn't have a real connection to the first one. You don't. You're not.
I like Ghostbusters, but I never I like the Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters are great. I have on my messenger bag. I have a Spengler patch. But it's not one of those things that I obsess about. Like growing up, I was so into Star Wars, um, Godzilla movies, James Bond. Like that's the shit that like I go crazy for. Um, I like Ghostbusters, but I don't follow it. My friend Jay is like the biggest Ghostbusters fan, and he like knows every comic inside and out, every like video game, like every little minute detail. He just did a podcast about um, Ghostbusters, and I guess there's a company that makes Ecto-1 license plates, and they have the different ones for like Ecto 1, Ecto 2, and they just released the Ecto 1 license plate from the new movie that's all like rusted out from the trailer. They like already put it out and you can buy it. And I'm just like, shit, like I like Ghostbusters, but I just don't follow it. Like I like the movies. I watch Ghostbusters once every, I don't know, a couple of years. Um, Ghostbusters 2 has some of my favorite Ghostbuster jokes in it. It's not my favorite, but it has some of my favorite shit.
That courtroom scene is pretty fantastic.
Sucking those guts, boys. You're Ghostbusters. Like that is fucking brilliant.
Well, the trailer I thought looked really nice. Like I said before, I don't need it to be about kids. I would rather have it be about grown-ups, but it has a good feel to it. It looks creepy and it looks like it'll be lighthearted and fun. I don't know how funny it looks right now.
Yeah.
But
remember well, of course you do. In Ghostbusters 2, when Janine suits up Lewis in the Ghostbuster costume, and he's like,
born to wear this stuff.
He was like, you could tell he was like fanning, like he's a huge fan of the Ghostbusters, so he was like really excited. I feel like that's going to happen to Paul Rudd because he seems to remember the Ghostbusters. Other people have kind of hidden it, but he might be their designated driver. You know, are those kids able to drive that Ecto 1?
I think the kids are driving it.
Are they old enough? Okay. But I feel like he's gonna be a Ghostbuster.
I love the idea that the two of those kids are apparently the grandkids of Egon. I think that's a neat way to do it. I look forward to it. I want to see it.
It's interesting because I like the setup of Egon wanting to get rid of all the shit so that wouldn't get into the wrong hands. But like he clearly stored the containment unit under his farm and it somehow is cracked open and all these ghosts are coming out of it. So now his farm that was meant to hide all of this stuff is now Spook Central. And they're all just like, like I kind of like that. I like that it appears to be on like a small town scale. And I want to see how the original Ghostbusters fit into this.
Yeah.
If because I feel like with Egon not around and you have Peter, Ray, and Winston, and then you toss Paul Rudd into that group, like, come on. Right?
There's the voiceover where Venkman's going,
for whatever reason, Ray.
Karma. And a lot of people are thinking that it's like alternate takes from the first movie or something. But I think it's him saying it in this one. I feel he says it again.
Yeah. Who knows? We'll find out. I'm excited for it.
Good.
Listen, I was excited for the last one, and I enjoyed myself on the last one. I get it. But I mean, like a Star Wars movies, I just want to see funny people fucking bust ghosts. That's all I want, and Paul Rudd is one of the funniest dudes, and that's enough for me. And if the movie's more serious, and there's got to be jokes in it, they're not going to not have jokes in it.
It was a good first trailer. I think the next trailer has to be a little bit more funny.
Yeah, just awesome. I like the idea of just Ghostbusters. Like just the concept is great.
Right.
So yeah, bring it on. Bring on Ghostbusters. And
I think it's safe to say that this is our last podcast of the year and decade.
Yeah.
Episode 150.
This is also another milestone. This is where the RSS feed stops displaying all of our episodes. Our next episode, 151, will
bumps episode 1 out.
Yeah, bumps it out. So you'll have to go to allrightpodcast.com to view episode 1. And that also has links to our Facebook and Twitter. And Yeah, man.
And our
Star
first video
Wars.
podcast.
Yeah, this is. I'm throwing this on the Patreon if this works. It says it's recording. I don't know what happens when I say end record. I'm assuming I can retrieve the file somehow. But yeah, it was. I figured it might be a fun thing to do. My Patreon. That's all it needs is more fucking Star Wars talk. My Patreon has turned into Star Wars Central. So once the Mandalorian's done, I'm gonna take a break from Star Wars. But I do have a pretty big episode coming up. Let's say in the near future. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's Star Wars related.
Star Wars related?
Yeah. I'll tell you off the air, but
Ooh.
people are going to have to wait. So, yeah.
Well, happy holidays, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Happy New Year. Thanks for sticking around. I know we've clearly drifted between episodes, but we're very busy. And next year, there might be some encouraging changes for your buddy Kev. A lot of stuff going on. Everything's crazy, but good crazy.
Cool. And then I'm going to play with the only two micro machines that I still have from when I was a kid. And there are two ships that made their return in this movie, which is the Tantive Blockade Runner and the Y-Wing.
I know how much you like those Y-Wings.
Oh.
Yep. I'll just throw in our other passion in there because there was a Black Friday sale at some of the title belt places.
Oh, yeah? I think I saw this on Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, this is just beautiful. I mean, you can't see it unless you're watching the Patreon, but it's dual plated. I had to trade in the dual plated. It is, oh my gosh.
Is that a place where you can engrave your name?
There is. And
would you put your name? Would you put a wrestler name on there?
I could have put Ric Flair because it's Ric Flair's, it's most associated with Ric Flair. I could have put, they say it's 8 letters, but Kittredge has 2 I's in it. And I think I probably could have fit Kittredge in there, but I think I like the idea of having it blank, and I can always buy one and put one in there if I want.
All right. Cool. All right, man. It was fun. I'm going to go post this and then go to bed.
There you go. Get some rest.
And then, I'll see you guys next time.
All right. Let's stop doing a podcast for 2019.
All right. That is done. And end broadcast. End broadcast.